if you can create a culture where people really feel like they belong, then I say belonging boosts the bottom line. People want to know that they're acknowledged. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. If you have strong emotional intelligence, then you're going to be motivated, self-motivated, because you are aware of your emotions and you can control them.
What one key piece of advice you'd like to give to everyone watching and listening today?
In a sea of humanity, belonging is a shore of security, love, and identity.
Hello, and welcome to the Business Growth Show, where I interview successful entrepreneurs on all areas of business and how to utilize them for exponential growth. My name is Nathan Cassiotis. I'm a business growth expert, investor, and international speaker, where I help business owners grow and scale to create wealth and freedom. Today, I have an awesome guest. Her name is Dea Irby. She is the Belonging Strategist, published author, speaker, connector, and real estate agent. Originally from Mississippi, Dea has lived in 5 southern states in 15 plus different homes, renewing churches with her pastor husband, owning and operating a tea room, and now being a realtor in North Carolina. The common thread throughout her life is building real community wherever she has lived, in the home with 8 children, in the churches, and in her businesses. She knows the value of belonging and understands people need to be claimed. More about that to come. And Dea is an award-winning author and TEDx speaker and global leadership partners speaker. She is a pun collector and lover of truth, a connector, communicator, and cultivator. And Dea, the Belonging Strategist, is on a mission to help leaders know how to claim their people. Welcome, Dea Irby, and thank you for being on the Business Growth Show.
It is a pleasure, and I'm excited about our time together. Thank you, Ethan, so much for having me on.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm sure it's going to be an amazing show for everyone watching and listening today. And you are a successful entrepreneur. So for those people that don't know who you are, just introduce yourself by telling us a little bit more about you and your journey.
I've had an amazing journey. Some of my highlights that I like to brag about are we just celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary. That's
Amazing.
an accomplishment. And our 8 grown children are amazing that have lived all over the world. And we now have 20 grandchildren. And the reason I'm excited about that is it is there because we have built community and that we have a sense of belonging. Every part of my life has something to do with building community and how important it is to belong. And, belonging isn't a buzzword, it's a business strategy. People think that it's a huggy, feely, kumbaya attitude, but it's a necessary element to be successful in the business world, as well as in the family or any other endeavor you have.
Yeah,
So
amazing. I love that. It's belonging is so true, right? Like the connection, right, to people in whatever that environment is, but especially in a business sense, right, where you want to be part of something bigger in terms of what you're doing. So I love that with and so many different varieties of belonging that you've been part of, in different areas, which makes it quite interesting, I'm sure, as well.
yes, very. So I know that people want to belong and they want to create belonging, but how can you come up with a strategy or a way to look at it that is, helpful, that brings it all together? And I know that people don't just want to be connected. Like you can have, how many friends do you have on LinkedIn or followers? You have them on there or any of your social media, but are you really, immersed in a relationship? Do you know that person? And in the workplace, we had the Great Resignation. This is really what made me start thinking about it. The Great Resignation was, people didn't feel like they belonged. So they started leaving. In fact, still 3 out of 10 people are probably going to resign in 2024. We only have a few more months of that. So it's still happening. And it's not because people don't leave companies, they leave environments that they don't feel that they belong there. So I came up with how can I, they want to be claimed. Like, well, why do people join street gangs? Unfortunately, that is a good example or a bad example, that people want to know that, they belong, that they're claimed. So I came up with claim your people at work. Actually, where's my book? Yeah, claim your people at work. So this
awesome.
talks about these 5 elements. And that's what I like to talk about. Of course, emotional intelligence is underneath the umbrella of it. Resilience is underneath the umbrella of belonging. And, but anyway, this is an acrostic. And if you put together these 5 elements, you can build a culture of belonging. And why? Do you know what the impact is if you have a culture of belonging?
I'd love to know from your side. I'm sure you've done the research. Please tell us the impact.
Yes. What percentage improvement on performance do you think you would have from someone if they feel like they belong?
I reckon at least 50%, I would say.
You are so close. 56%. 56%. What percent, if someone feels like they're really involved, they really belong, they're part of the company culture, what percent retention is there?
I reckon it'd be even higher for retention. I don't know, maybe like 70%.
Well, we're going to come to that one in a minute. It's 50%.
Oh, there you go.
But this is the one that if someone feels like they belong and they're really part of the company culture, the percentage of sick days, less sick days, like, oh no, I have a headache, I can't go to work. It goes down 75%.
Wow. So that also increases the productivity because they're there more at the same time.
But they can't be productive if they're not at work, right?
Definitely.
And so if you are creating this culture where it is not a huggy, feely, kumbaya feeling, it is a business strategy, like I said, that if you can create a culture where people really feel like they belong, then I say belonging boosts the bottom line.
Yeah,
It's going to show up.
definitely.
Now, do you know what it costs if you lose an employee and you have to, what turnover costs you?
Yeah, it costs a lot. Like it's a big amount. It depends maybe in different countries, but I'd love to know the number that you're going to tell us. Yeah.
Well, what SHRM says is that it's going to cost you from 30 to 40, yeah, as high as 50 to 60% of the overall cost, ranging from 90 to 200%. So like if you have somebody that's working, they're being paid 60,000 to replace them just for their salary, you're going to end up investing in them at least 30 to 45%. But the cost to the company, because you have the recruiting, the time lost, the training, all of that, it could cost from 54,000 to 120,000. So giving someone a raise, acknowledging their work and rewarding them for a job well done sounds like it's expensive, but it's way more efficient than starting all over.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. And, my assumption as well is with the belonging element, even if they get tapped on the shoulder or anything like that, they're not just going to leave, right? They love where they work. So, there's a conversation that happens there. And if you can, pay them a little bit more that, whatever like that is, and they still feel like it, they're more likely to stay. That retention side that you've been talking about. So I love that. And I love the bottom line because we've got to have a profitable business. That's what it's really all about, and we need people. So important in a business because we can only when we start can we do it by ourselves. We need to be able to grow that over time. So I know you've got these different elements to building belonging. So do you want to maybe share, just quickly what they are? Because everyone's probably going, "Oh, what are these? Please tell us."
What are these five? Um, so I'll tell you the first one, and the second one's really easy, and then I'll maybe see if you can guess the rest one. What did you do sports in when you were in middle school or elementary school, and the coach would say, "Okay, you're a team captain, and you're a team captain," and the people would pick the teams.
Yep,
Did you
definitely.
get picked first? Were you a team captain, or
Well,
were you?
I got better later. I got picked towards the end initially, and then as I got better as I played, then I started getting picked towards the start.
Yes. So how did it make you feel when you started getting picked at the beginning?
Yeah, it was like, oh, I'm being seen for, my improvement.
So the C stands for chosen.
Mm.
The impact of someone feeling like they're chosen. Like if you go through this rigorous recruiting system and you're chosen, then that is the beginning of the relationship of someone feeling like they've been chosen for the job. And you just make sure that throughout it, you remind them that you're glad they're there, that you continue to choose them to be a part of the company or to work with you. So that's the C, chosen. People want to know that they are chosen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. It plays on that like significance, human need element, right? That we have, that we're chosen, that we're part of that. So I love that one. Yeah.
Mhm. L, people want to know that they are, this is the easy one. What do
You-
you think the L stands
What do
for?
you mean, like a leader, maybe? Or
No, they want to know they're chosen.
yeah,
They want to know that there's something that starts with an L.
that they're I don't know. I've got a mental
It
blank at the
has
moment.
it has four letters and then has
Oh,
a D.
like loved?
Yes, good job.
Nice.
Yes, without too many hints. Okay, in the workplace, being loved is like being accepted for who you are, and it's a secure, safe place. If you're a good leader, well, servant leader, the people that are working with you know that they have this security that they can come to you and say, guess what? That idea you had, I have a better idea. I think, would you consider? And they can, or, you know, I just need to tell you that the way you led at that meeting was not effective. And I got elected to come tell you. I'm that is an environment where someone feels like they're loved, that it's safe, that it's secure. It's not loved like uh, romantic or even well, the other ways you can look at it. It's more of a accepting somebody for who they are, and that it's a safe. You know that the person has your back. You know that the person is to do the best for you that they can. So you know that you are loved.
Yeah.
So people want to know they're chosen and that they're loved when they're there. Now, there's a lot of good answers to the A, but I have one in mind. So you have to read my mind. But what is it? People want to know they're chosen, want to know they're loved. They want to know that what's the A?
What's the A? That they're um chosen, loved. Like I know it's not this word. I know it's not attitude, but this is what's coming up for me. But is it available? Is it I'm not sure. Um You got me thinking a little bit here about what it could be that they're. I don't know. Is there any other tips that you can give me?
I know all of a sudden, all the words that start with A leave your brain.
Yeah, they
And
do.
I'm giving your listeners a little time to think, what would they say? What would they say? What is it? What is it? People, and when I say it, you're going to go, yes. People want to know that they're acknowledged.
Makes
They're
sense.
acknowledged. That goes back to you kind of mentioned they want to be seen. They want to be heard. They acknowledge for not just you did a good job for their accomplishments or their contributions, acknowledge that in their loving, safe environment, they can be acknowledged for someone of value that might bring an idea. You know, you can't have innovation in a business if people don't feel like their ideas or thoughts are going to be acknowledged. And Ethan, there are 3 ways that don't cost anything that you can acknowledge people. And with our cell phones, a lot of it doesn't happen. The very first way is to look people in the eye. When you're talking with someone or listening to someone, look them in the eye. I had a conversation with this young businessman the other day, and I mean, he's doing great in business. And it was just the 2 of us standing there, but the whole time we're having a conversation, he's doing this. I wanted to get his face and turn it around and say, look at me. I mean, even when he was talking, he wasn't looking at me. And, you know, that you don't feel acknowledged when that happens.
Definitely.
Another simple way is to use their name.
Definitely.
When you practice this, when you're out and about, just when you're at a store or at a restaurant or somebody's got a name tag on, use their name. You may be the only person that day that acknowledged their existence, their individuality, that you may be the only one that actually saw them.
Love that.
And then another way to acknowledge people is in your conversations with them, listening, to actually listen. And as you listen, well, do you know what, if you rearrange the letters of listen, what it spells? I am just giving your brain a challenge today.
What it spells, and now you're going to get me an anagram happening here. To try to think what it is. You might have to tell me this one unless I look it up
I'll
on
tell you
Google.
because it's not easy. Silent.
Ah,
You take the letters and rearrange them, and to listen means to be silent. And that's not just don't be talking and interrupting. Your brain needs to be not thinking about what you're going to say next. Be silent with your thoughts in your head while you're listening to someone. And then what I like to challenge myself with, and I invite you to do the same, they say something and you go, oh, well, tell me more. And what else about that? And why did you think that? And go 7 levels. Can you make it 7 levels of follow-up questions? What that does is it's letting the person know you're acknowledging they have thoughts and they're there and you're interested. Also, as you're asking questions, it's confirming that you're listening. You're
yeah,
hearing what
definitely.
they say.
Yeah, that would build a lot of like rapport and trust, right? With the person, because they're like, wow, Dea's really listening to me here. Like I want I want to connect with Dea. Like I can actually speak here. And yeah, that's amazing. I love that those questions and that acknowledged part and that 7 levels deep where possible. 'Cause it'll take to the relationship to a whole new level.
Absolutely. It will go from a connection to a belonging, a real claimed relationship. So we might be able to get through this. The C is chosen, the L is love, the A is acknowledged. And, I'm going to tell you what the I is because it's 2 words and it can be lots of 2 words. And yes, people want to know that they're invested in.
Mm.
And, at work, are you the kind of master that wants them to make gold out of straw? Or are you giving them the resources they need to accomplish the goals that you want them to accomplish? The resources, the training, what are you investing in your people so that they can be the best version of themselves to accomplish or to contribute to the business?
Yeah, I love that one. That's so important. Like having the right system so they can do well in their jobs and enjoy it, and then also like yeah, that training, almost that coaching element, right? Where it's like, hey, we want to better you, and that's that human need of growth, right? We all want to grow. If we're not growing, we're dying, so to speak. So we've got to help people to be able to grow within there and learning more, so that they will just keep wanting to be there as well. So I love that one. Really powerful one.
And there are ways to invest. We talked about acknowledging a person and listening. When you invest time by stopping and listening, that if you're in charge of a lot, but you stop and you listen. There was an example of somebody that was the head, the boss that would come into the office and he had a football and he would throw it to one of the people at one of the desks. They were supposed to catch it. Everybody was looking at him. And whoever he threw it to and caught it, he would go and just spend time talking to them. How was your weekend? Tell me about your family. Did you have a good birthday party? Whatever. Just investing the time to know your people. There was also a company that was about to go bankrupt. And the person that took over, decided to write a note, handwritten note to every employee. And they had hundreds of people, even to the person that swept the floor. Thank you for your job. You're doing great. I'm so glad we have you here, and I appreciate your faithfulness to every person. They were saving the notes. They were posting it. He had invested time, creativity, energy into these people, and the company turned around and is thriving.
Amazing.
So it doesn't have to cost. Now, of course, investing more money, giving bonuses, giving a raise, who wouldn't appreciate that? But that's not the only way to invest in your people.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. So true. That time element, time's more, is more of an asset, right? Than money, in that way. So yeah, love that. Really amazing stuff there. Well, let's get into the M. DA, you've done so well, and everyone's probably on the tip of their seat going, come on, just finish it off for me.
Finish it up. We are going to finish it. Of course, if you want lots of illustrations and everything, it's in the book that you can get on Amazon. M. I'm going to let you guess for a little while. And it's a little complicated, but it'll make sense. But what do you think M is? People want to know they're chosen and loved, acknowledged, invested in, and
I don't know. One thing that's just popped to mind is mentored, but it may not be the right word. That's sort of like the invested in part.
yeah,
There.
right.
Yeah.
That would fit under the I.
Yeah.
These are all good things that you're mentioning.
Yeah, that's right. And an M, what would it be? Like, yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. So this one's hard because I've got one word for it and I've got a 3-word phrase.
Okay.
So they want to know that they're made for greatness. That's the 3-word phrase. And the one word is that they matter.
Ah.
If you can communicate to each of your people, whether it's your spouse, your children, your people that you work with or work for or are boss of, that you matter, that you are uniquely you, and it's like each person in the world is a puzzle piece, and if your puzzle piece is any different, you can't be somebody else's puzzle piece. You have a place that you fit in the big picture of what's going on in the world, every little piece. So you're important. Like, have you ever put together a jigsaw puzzle and there's a piece missing and it's like, well, this isn't any good. I can't frame it. I can't put it anywhere. There's a hole in it. That's what you get when you're not encouraging and reminding people that they have their uniqueness to bring to the company, to the family, to the process, and that they matter. Like, some people feel like if I didn't show up tomorrow, nobody would miss me. That's because they don't feel like they belong or that they matter.
Yeah, that's powerful. I love that. And so true. And it's like everyone's got their unique gifts, right? Like not everyone's the same, which is fine. And that's good in an organization because you can harness that together, right? And making people aware of that becomes really powerful in that communication, element that you're talking about there. So love that we got to claim all of that together today on the podcast.
You got it all. But
That's a-
you can still buy the book.
I'm sure there's a lot more depth, right? We're only like scratching the surface here of what it is. And you gave
Right.
some good examples around the acknowledging side, there, and I'm sure all of them will go a lot deeper. So I definitely recommend going through this. I'm very intrigued to delve deeper into these because I know that can make a massive difference in a business. And at the start, you talked about emotional intelligence, which comes around everything, right? As well, which I think is so important generally, right? In business and how we're, acting with each other. Like, firstly, how do you define emotional intelligence, I guess, because it's a term that's out there, and why is it important, do you say, in business as well?
Okay. Emotional intelligence has been defined as having 5 elements to be emotionally intelligent. Like, you've got your what's the IQ, where you're intelligent about what you can think and know, but your emotional intelligence is another part of you that's really, if you don't have emotional intelligence, it doesn't matter how smart you are or how skilled you are. And the 5 elements are, the first one is self-awareness. There are people that just don't even know how they don't work with people. They're just not aware. So you got to start with being aware, because you're not going to improve or change. It's like having a piece of spinach stuck on your tooth and you don't know it and nobody will tell you. So you just think life is great and you got spinach on your teeth. You have to start with self-awareness. And then when you become aware, you have to have self-management. Like, oh, wow. Every time, I was thinking about that just the other day. I don't know, you have roundabouts or whatever you call them, right?
Yes.
America is getting a lot of roundabouts. America has a lot of drivers who have never seen roundabouts. And they pull up and they stop. And there's nobody coming anywhere and they don't go. It's like they don't know what to do. And I recognize, I am self-aware that it's going to trigger me to get all. So then I have to have self-control. It's just going to be like, well, even if it's a whole minute, what difference in the long range will 1 minute sitting here behind this person that doesn't know how to use a roundabout? So I'm managing my emotions. The third one is having empathy for other people. So you need to be aware of yourself and be able to control it, but also be through that. And because of that, you're able to understand other people. So in the workplace, if you're leading, first of all, you have to know, be aware of when you're getting frustrated with workers, be able to, control it, and then have empathy. Like, wait a minute, what's probably how they're being or what they're doing has absolutely nothing to do with me. It's what's going on in their life. It's their story, right?
Definitely.
And um, so just stop and listen maybe to 7 levels down, and you'll be able to grow in your empathy for them. Maybe they came to work because they're that loyal person that's going to show up, and they just got news that their father died. And it has absolutely nothing to do with you. Or they totaled their car, and now whatever, the insurance isn't going to pay for it. There's just all kinds of things happening in people's lives that we need to stop and have empathy. The fourth element is social skills. Now, when you're aware of yourself, how you relate socially, like, do you look people in the eye when you talk to them? And I like to say, smiling at people. Do you know that when you smile at people, physically, their body responds with a smile? And when you smile, these happy chemicals, I'm not going to be scientific, happy chemicals are released in your brain. And when you smile at other people, they just automatically smile, and happy chemicals are released in their brain. So, like, that's free drug dealer.
That's it. No prescription required.
No prescription. And just think, and test this. I like when I'm out and about with people, I see them and I'll smile and just see, if you can catch their eye and you smile, and even sometimes if they barely see you and you smile, they smile. I've tested this. So I encourage you, have fun. It can be a game. How many people can I make smile today and be that legal drug dealer? But anyway.
we can even get some kids involved in that game probably as well. That would be a good fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How many people did you smile at today?
Yeah.
And then the fifth one, which brings it all together, really. If you have strong emotional intelligence, then you're going to be motivated, self-motivated, because you are aware of your emotions and you can control them. You're a mature enough person to have empathy for other people, and you can have a good relationship with the people around you. You are going to be motivated. You don't have to have somebody lighting a fire under you to do a good job. You are going to want to be ethical, and you're going to want to have integrity, and you want to be honest. You're going to want to do a good job, and nobody's making you do that because you have emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
So there's that.
That's amazing. Yeah, so true. All these areas are so powerful, and they do say that EQ, emotional intelligence, is more important, like you said, than the IQ side. And I think that motivation part, I talk a lot about like intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic, right? Where it's not an external thing you get motivated by. You're actually motivated because you enjoy doing what you're doing and you have that awareness. And if you can help others to do that and do it for yourself, then that's how you can create more of that amazing culture alongside the belonging stuff, that you've been talking as well.
Right. It's just all comes together. And people, I'm a student of peopleness. watch people, I talk to people, I listen to people. And it doesn't matter what socioeconomic, what educational level, what race, religion, gender, country, whatever. People are people. And they need to feel like they are part of a community. They need to know that they belong. And when you provide that community, it is an opportunity for them to grow in their emotional intelligence.
Yeah, that's amazing. One question I have, because, I think, I don't know, it's changing a little bit now, but, post COVID, obviously, we had a lot of people working from home. I know a lot of businesses are sort of wanting people, or there's a lot of hybrid, let's call it, happening now, and all of that area there, and still wanting that community, right? Which you're talking about is so important. So, do you have any thoughts or tips around that, especially in this hybrid or virtual world that we're still in?
That is a great question, and it is definitely a challenge. We are so, as I like to say, consumed with meetings.
Definitely.
Zooming here, zooming there, we're consumed. There are ways that you can interact as you're having a Zoom meeting. If you're meeting with people, if everybody's individually doing remotely and you don't have a joint Zoom meeting or time to get together, that's the first thing you need to do is get together. You can have interactive Zoom meetings. There are cool quizzes and games you can play. I am the Zoom master for Toastmasters clubs that I belong to. And I am the officer that is the sergeant at arms. So I start the meeting. So the very beginning, to get people excited to be there, first of all, I don't just turn it on. I have picked music that fits the theme of the evening. And then I welcome everybody, ask them to make sure their names are labeled so we can find the guests. But then I ask, tell me something good. To start off the meeting, I have another acrostic because I like those, to have a fit meeting. But one of those is the T is tell me something good. Start off with giving people an opportunity when they can share something from them that they feel like they're really a part of it. And even the other people feel like they're in on the know. I saw a survey that gave a questionnaire to the workers and the managers, and they listed 10 things that they thought would be sources of motivation, right? And they asked the managers to rank them, and they asked the workers to rank them. The most that gives you motivation to the least, right? The workers put number one, that they wanted to be acknowledged. The second was that they wanted to feel like they were in on things. And the third was that they wanted help with personal needs, right? That really motivated them. It wasn't like higher pay or whatever. Acknowledged and in on things, not feeling like they were left out in the cold. And the third one of help with their personal things. Do you know where those three ranked from the managers but the managers put what they thought the workers, how they thought the workers would rank it.
I'm sure it was
Do you
the
know where those
opposite.
three? Yes. They were the bottom three for the managers. So starting off, whether you're online or offline, you need to know what your people are thinking and what they're feeling. But yes, intentionally having in-person gatherings if you can, but I've got two daughters-in-law that work remotely, like, they live in Georgia and they work in New York. So let's get together Friday for pizza. No, it's not going to work. But you can still have ways to interact. Use the chat. Hey, put in the chat if you think ask them a question or do a survey and do a poll. You can do those online. Whatever you can do to give them an opportunity to interact or express their thoughts. And then another way is, hey, boss, pick up the phone and call them and say, I'm just checking in. This is a well check. How's it going? I appreciate the job you did on that project, but just wanted to say, hey, I'm thinking I really appreciate that I hired you and that we're glad that you're here and you're doing a good job and you're investing the time calling them because they're just really vital they matter and they are vital to the company. Now, that would take 2 minutes. When COVID happened as real estate agents, what do? We use that time to check on our people, everybody in our contact list, calling them, hey, just calling to see how you're doing. And is everything okay? Is there anything I need to do for you? Do I need to bring some groceries? Whatever, just finding out how your people are. So yes, you have to be intentional. You have to consider ask your people, what would make you feel like you were more involved in the company since you're working remotely? What can we do?
Yeah, I love that. It's amazing goal that you just shared with us there and getting their involvement, asking as well as those 2-minute calls or whatever it is, right, in those situations. So yeah, Dea, you've shared so much value with us today and everything that you've shared. And I guess as we're starting to wrap up, what one key piece of advice you'd like to give to everyone watching and listening today?
I've got a quote. Let's see if I can show it. This is my quote. In a sea of humanity, belonging is a shore of security, love, and identity. We have to provide belonging for people and for our society to survive, really. There's an illustration, if I can, of a orphanage that in a Asian country, I think, or maybe European country, where there's this a crib room, and there was this one baby that was different than everybody else. It was growing, it was happy, and they thought that the workers thought, well, maybe that's a magic crib. And they moved the baby out and put another baby in. And over the weeks, they watched this baby get healthier and better, and eyes sparkled and would coo and would act like a baby. And they said, well, this is really weird. So they put up a camera to see what was happening. Every night when the cleaning lady came in to mop the floor, she stopped at the crib by the door and picked up the baby and held the baby and sang to the baby for about 15 minutes and then put the baby back down in the crib. We cannot flourish, we cannot thrive, we cannot grow, we cannot be healthy if we don't belong. So I just want to encourage everyone to find your place of belonging and create a place of belonging for other people.
Yeah, I love that, Dea. Amazing way to end with a bang, so to speak there. And we connect through our networks. I learned about your awesome journey from, owning the Baron York Tea Room to now being the Belonging Strategist and real estate agent. Amazing woman, so knowledgeable what you've shared with us today about, belonging, emotional intelligence, and all of that there. It's been an amazing show, and I'm sure we continue to help, people and organizations go from disconnect to belonging. Very grateful that we connected and look forward to connecting further. So, Dia, how can people find you, get in contact with you?
Ethan, well, if I go back to this one, I get to have you on my podcast. If someone wants to scan that, that's to my podcast, Here Where You Belong. Also, Dea Irby on YouTube, on Facebook, on all the socials. I'm not real good about keeping up with LinkedIn, you might notice, but I can get notification of it. I'm out there. Look for me. Let's connect.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely check out Dia there, her amazing podcast that we're about to record as well, which is going to be amazing on hers and all the social platforms, her website, all of that. Definitely check her out. Amazing book as well that she mentioned earlier today. So, yeah, if you want to take that to the next level with yourself and your business. And yeah, it's been a pleasure interviewing you. Thanks for being on the Business Growth Show.
Ethan, you're great. Thank you.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Business Growth Show, where we talk about everything on business growth. And please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Ethan Cassiotis, or visit my website, ethancassiotis.com. And if you want to grow and scale your business, you can reach out to me on any platform to see if we're a good fit. So until next time, remember that our business grows where we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. So let's create wealth and freedom together.